Can I make a difference? I have asked myself that more times than I can count, and more times than I can count, I have thought to myself, no. I've looked around at the state of the world, at the chaos, at the corruption, at the cruelty, and thought, what is the point? Is anything I say or do gonna matter in the grand scheme of everything that's going on? And the answer to that question is yes. The world doesn't change just because you want it to. The world doesn't get better just because you hope that it will. The only way that we ever make real, tangible change is by doing something about it. That is the only way that we make a difference. And there are going to be times when you think that you can't do that. There are going to be times when people tell you that you can't do that. But the truth of the matter is, you can. And I know that because I'm speaking from personal experience. My name is Olivia Julianna. I am a digital strategist, a digital organizer, and a social media content creator. When I was 17 years old, I was a junior in high school when I was sent home because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I lost the rest of that year of school, and I was sent back to my small rural Texas farmhouse where it was just me, my dad, and my anxiety. And in that summer, when I was stuck at home, I watched the world burn. I watched the global pandemic kill people, some in my own community. I watched the resurgence of the civil rights movement, and I watched an extremely contentious presidential election that I would not be old enough to vote in. And I wanted to do something. I wanted to make a difference in some way. So what did I do? I picked up my phone and I started using my voice. I started recording videos and posting them on TikTok, telling other young people that they should be involved, telling them why they should care, telling them that they have power, that their voice has power. And surprisingly to me, people actually seemed to want to listen. And what was just me and my childhood bedroom with horrible Wi-Fi in rural Texas, which took me about 10 to 15 minutes to upload a TikTok video, I garnered a following. I accumulated millions of views leading up to that election. Even though I couldn't make a difference with my vote, maybe I could make a difference by encouraging other people to do that. So what started as me just making content in my bedroom turned into a platform that I built off of using my voice to try to bring about change. And I didn't do it politely. I did not do it with a smile. I did not do it overtly nice. I was blunt, I was harsh, and I was honest. And when you're honest and unapologetically who you are, there are people who feel threatened by that. In my case, it's not just the anonymous trolls in my comment section who make snide remarks about my body or about the fact that I'm an openly bisexual young woman living in Texas. It was also men in positions of power, governors, attorney generals, and most notably, a congressman named Matt Gaetz. When I was 19 years old, he attacked me publicly on his social media pages where he had millions and millions of followers. He did that because he expected me to be silent.
Why is it that the women with the least likelihood of getting pregnant are the ones most worried about having abortions? They're like 5'2", 350 pounds, and they're like, give me my abortions or I'll get up and march and protest.
He expected to reduce me down to an insult, to something that people could repost and send in group chats to laugh at. But that's not what happened, because that's not who I am. I didn't respond with tears or with complaints or with outrage. I responded with unfiltered, fiery, unrelenting clapbacks. I'm not 5'3". I'm 5'11", 6'4" in heels. I wear them to remind small men like you of your place. And what would have been just a moment of political immaturity, I turned into a movement. And I started fundraising for abortion funds across the country just a few months after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
19-year-old abortion rights activist and political strategist Olivia Julianna.
Olivia Julianna raised over $2.2 million for abortion rights after a Twitter battle with Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz.
It made national headlines, made global headlines, and it trended on Twitter for 3 days. All because a 19-year-old woman who was targeted by a man in a position of power refused to give in and used her voice to defend herself and to defend other people. A lot of people talk about finding your voice as if it is this kind of silent reflection where you sit and think about it for hours on end. And maybe that's the case for some people, but that was not the case for me. I found my voice in the middle of a fight. I found it through what some people call baptism by fire. I found it through my anger, through my frustration, through my outrage at what was going on in the world. And ever since I found it, it has been unshakable.
Killed people when you outlawed COVID-19 restrictions and let Texans die in empty hospital rooms.
It's the assault on the republic that we're seeing, where we have democratically elected legislators being removed for standing with young people in Tennessee. Texas has become a beacon of extremism to the country. At this very moment, abortion is banned in the state that constitutional right was born from. Young people are not just asking for a seat at the table. We are not asking to be part of these conversations. We are demanding that we be part of this conversation. It has been loud. It has been unapologetic. It has been blunt. And at times, it has been irritating. But I learned something. People want to listen. People want to hear you tell the truth, because ultimately people do care. I wasn't able to make a difference because I was nice, or because I was polite, or because I had the most polished political answers. I was able to make a difference because social media is not just a tool for sharing opinions. It is one of the most powerful weapons if you know how to wield it. I used it to drag powerful men, to use insults, to create tangible change, to call out hypocrisy, to expose corruption, and to bring around progress in a real, tangible way. And here's the thing, you can do that too. I'm gonna be honest with you. It is not a fair fight. It is not easy. It is the hardest thing I have ever had to do in my life. And let me tell you something, I had a doozy of a childhood. But there are gonna be people who try to bring you down. There are going to be people who try to make you feel bad about yourself, who will make you litigate every insecurity that you have, who will try to make you feel small. The reality is that they are doing that because they are afraid of equity. They are afraid of progress because they feel like they themselves might get left behind. Because let's be real here, those beliefs, that hatred, it's outdated and it has long since gone out of fashion. Not everyone who speaks out goes viral. Not everyone who fights back gets to see the impact that they want. Sometimes it feels like we're screaming into the void. Even me now, with over 1 million followers, there are days where I ask myself, am I making a real difference? Am I actually reaching people where they are? And the answer is yes. Sometimes it feels like no matter how hard we hit, the system just absorbs the blow and keeps moving. But that's why we don't stop. Because every blow, every moment of outspoken outrage, every little act of resistance really does add up, even when it doesn't feel like it. It's kind of like snow. When you see a few little drops of snowflakes, it doesn't really seem like there's gonna be much there to make a snowman. But after a while, it accumulates and you realize that you have the power to build something that's gonna bring joy, that's gonna bring community, that's gonna bring a little bit of fun and peace to your life. And that's what resistance is like. It comes through one snowflake at a time. But every fight matters. Every post matters. Every word matters. Because the people in power want you to feel defeated. They want you to believe that nothing you do is going to amount to any real change. They want you to believe that nothing matters. They need you to stop fighting. So don't. There have been days where I have felt like giving up. Days when I've wondered, what's the point? Why am I doing all of this when I could just as easily go get my degree in education, move back to my hometown, and just be a teacher and mind my business? And I know a lot of you have probably felt the same. You've probably felt like life would just be easier if I just didn't say anything at all. But you need to understand that nihilism is the enemy of progress. If they can convince you that nothing matters, then they can convince you to stop fighting. And if they convince you to stop fighting, then they win and no progress is actually made. Well, I refuse to let them win. And I hope that you refuse to let them win too. Because every time we refuse to back down, we prove them wrong. Every time we refuse to be silent, we make them afraid. Every time we are unapologetically who we are, we remind them that we are the ones with the real power. It doesn't have to be polite. It doesn't have to be clean. Sometimes this fight is messy, it's ugly, and it's stressful. But sometimes the fight is as simple as you just standing your ground and saying, not today, not me, not without a fight. You will not make me apologize for who I am, and you will not make me waver in what I believe in. So can you make a difference? Yes, absolutely. You can make a difference. Does it matter? Absolutely. And if I can do it, you can do it too. I didn't come from wealth. I came from a household where my parents got divorced when I was 14, and it was me and my dad in the middle of the pandemic when he lost his job. I went to a rural Texas public high school with a graduating class of maybe 200 something people, and I was able to go to college because of a federal government Pell Grant program. I did not come from privilege. I did not have people who could make the right connections or could show me where the real power was. I was just a teenager who wanted to see change and who had a voice and wanted to use it. And guess what? I did, I have, and we have actually been able to make a difference because of it. I have a voice. You have a voice. And you should use it. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need a high-tech, high-quality camera. You don't need the best editing software or the most followers on any given platform. You just need your voice, and all you need to do is be unapologetically yourself, because you, who you are, your heart, your personality, your story, that is what connects other people to you. That is what builds community. You are the most powerful tool that you have. You don't need to go viral. You just need to be relentless and use your voice unapologetically, consistently, and without hesitation. Because when you refuse to stay silent, you make them afraid. And if I, a young woman from the middle of nowhere, Texas, with no connections and no prior experience, can go from uploading those videos in my childhood bedroom with horrible internet connection to having meetings in the West Wing of the White House and having a following where I can accumulate hundreds of millions of views a year, you can make a difference too. It's not a matter of if you can, it's a matter of if you will. And I think that you can, and I think that you should. Don't let people make you feel bad about who you are. Don't let them make you feel like you're different or weird or an outcast, because guess what? There are a whole lot of different and weird and outcast people out there like me who care about who you are and who have similar stories to you. So don't give up. Be relentless in being yourself. Use your voice to speak out relentlessly against those who want to silence it.